So hi, good day to you. Let's continue our CISSP journey. So in domain one, we have two terminology. One is outsourcing and another is offshoring. So outsourcing is the use of third party to provide information technology support services that previously we were doing in our own company. We have offshoring also. Offshoring means outsourcing to another country. Let's take an example of our BPO industry or our call center industry. Previously, we were getting a lot of business from US and another country. So US people are outsourcing their work to India. This is an example of outsourcing. Since the work which they are providing is they are providing to another country, that will come under offshoring. Both can very well lower our total cost of ownership, especially in case of offshoring. It can have issue related to privacy as well as regulation also. A thorough and accurate risk analysis must be performed before outsourcing or offshoring sensitive data of the organization. So here we have some example which can differentiate between them. So a UK business set up its call center in India to serve UK customers. It's come under offshoring, not under outsourcing. A toy manufacturer use overseas suppliers to produce components which it imports to the UK. This example comes under both offshoring as well as outsourcing. Similarly, we have other two examples. So let's move on our important topic, which is risk management. Overall, if we talk about information security, risk management is a major and an important topic. Since we are calculating the risk, we are trying to mitigate the risk. So I'll cover a lot of slides, especially for risk management. So let's understand what exactly is risk management. There is, especially in our overall information security, we don't have terminology in which we can say we have achieved 100% secure environment. Since every environment has some vulnerabilities as well as threats, so it's important to have the skill in identifying these threats, assessing the probability of them actually occurring and the damage they could cause, and then taking the right step to reduce the overall level of risk in the environment to which the organization identifies as acceptable. So lot of, again, due care and due diligence has to be done. Lot of pre-work has to be done in order to properly assess the threats and associated risks. Risk to an organization comes into different forms, and they are not every time computer related. We should understand this point. So a number of framework has been developed to identify and evaluate risk. These frameworks have evolved mainly to address the unique need of different industries and their associated process. From a governance perspective, the selection of right framework should create a control environment, and it should follow mainly these five criteria. It should be consistent. Our risk governance program must be consistent in how information security and privacy are approached and applied. Second one is measurable. The governance program must provide a way to determine progress and set goals. Most control frameworks contain an asset standard or procedure to determine compliance. It should be standardized. Our control framework should rely on standardization. So results from one organization can be compared in a meaningful way to result from another organization. It should be comprehensive. The selected framework should cover the minimum legal and regulatory requirement of an organization and be extensible to accommodate additional organization specific requirements. It should be comprehensive, include all requirement of an organization. Then the last one is modular. A modular framework is more likely to withstand the changes of an organization, as only the controls or requirements needing modification are reviewed and updated. So it should be modular and frequently it should be reviewed. Again, so as lot of different risk management, we have a lot of different risk management frameworks. Most of them address specific industry or organizational requirements. So as an information security professional, we should aware about which of the framework are major ones and what exactly they cover. So we have from ISO, which is International Standard Organization. They have their ISO 31,000 series of standards. They have updated their standard in year 2018. That's why you can see it's ISO 31,000 colon 2018. So this standard is based on set of mainly 8 principles, which include continual process improvement as an essential component. So these are mainly the 8 principles which are there as per ISO 31,000 colon 2018. I'll not go into nitty gritty, but from CISSP perspective, you should be aware that this standard is there mainly for risk management. Then we have NIST, which is called the National Institute of Standards. Lot of organizations use NIST framework for overall risk management strategy and risk management policy formulation. So NIST provides direction to US government agencies in implementing information security practices. Mainly they have created for US organizations, but currently across the world, lot of organizations use this framework. So NIST has a special publication 800-37, which is guide for applying the risk management framework to federal information system. It basically prescribes a 6-step process through which the federal government manage the risk of operating information systems. NIST also developed FIPS, which stands for Federal Information Processing Standards. So FIPS is part of NIST. FIPS are basically the standards and guidelines developed mainly for US government computer systems. But as I have said, currently a lot of private organizations are also using them. We have mainly two standards which are critical to risk management framework under FIPS. Overall, NIST standards are pretty good from risk management framework, and as I have already said, lot of organizations use their standards to formulate their information security framework and policies. So other major standards are the Committee of Sponsoring Organization, which is also called as COSO. Basically, COSO provide a comprehensive organization level view of risk management. We can also call it COSO. COSO organization originally formulated to address weakness in the financial environment to detect fraud and other criminal activities. Mainly it was related to the financial organization, but now this framework is broadly applicable to organizations operating in various industries or sectors. Then we have ITIL. ITIL provide mainly a service management framework in which risk management is an integrated element. So then we have our COBIT and Risk IT also. These are primarily by ISACA. ISACA is a governing organization. They also have a lot of certification. So in the late 1990s, the audit community in the United States and Canada recognized that there was a significant gap between the information technology governance and the larger organization management structure. So mainly they found there is a lot of gap. To address this gap, ISACA developed a framework called COBIT. And based on ISACA COBIT IT governance framework, the Risk IT framework provide a structure for identifying, evaluation, and monitoring of information technology risks. So let's move forward in our major risk management frameworks. Then here we have lot of specific industry related risk framework also. Industry could be your credit card industry, your healthcare industry, and other specific industry. Like for healthcare, we have the Health Information Trust Alliance Common Security Framework. It was developed to address the overlapping regulatory environment in which many healthcare providers used to operate. So they want to create a common framework of this within the healthcare industry. It takes into consideration both risk-based and compliance-based consideration. Then we have our North American Electric Reliability Corporation Critical Infrastructure Protection. So over the 2 decades, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation Critical Infrastructure Protection published a set of standards designed to enforce good cybersecurity practice and provide an auditable framework for compliance. Again, this framework has lot of influence from NIST, but it is a standalone framework specific to power industry. So from CISSP perspective, there is no requirement to get into detail of all these frameworks, but at least you should be aware that these are the major frameworks which we have. Then we also have International Society of Automation, which has developed a series of standards to address the unique needs of industrial control environment. They have framework with ISA 99 and ISA/IEC 62443. So let's continue our discussion around industry-specific risk framework, especially for credit card industry. We have our PCI DSS compliance. So they have bifurcated the provider into 4 categories. At level 1, they have the companies who are doing more than 6 million annual transactions. At level 2, which are doing 1 to 6 million annual transactions. At level 3, they have 20K to 1 million annual transactions. And at level 4, they have the organizations which are doing less than 20K of annual transactions. So based on service provider level, they have relative controls. Mainly, if we talk about PCI DSS, they have 6 major requirements and their associated controls. I'll not go into nitty-gritty of them. Okay, so then we have our NIST 830. This is one of the most widely used risk assessment methodology. It mainly has 4 steps. The first step is to properly frame the risk to initiate the process. So a number of input is required from risk management strategy of an organization, which can include organization overall risk tolerance, their scope of assessment, and other parameters. Second step in the process is to conduct the assessment. 4 major activities will be performed to evaluate risk. Identification of threat to the system must be undertaken. It takes into account the threat means and motivations. Also, the identification of vulnerability is performed. So once the threat and weakness are known, the likelihood and impact of threat actually exploiting the vulnerability are evaluated. So third step in this process is to effectively communicate the finding to the stakeholder about the entire risk management process. And obviously, the fourth step is to maintain the assessment, to continuously monitor it.